My name is Alex Clearbrook. I am a student at Lebanon High School, the greatest school in America, and I am here to interview the man who made Preacher Boy's secret barbecue sauce, Don Anderson.
Hi, how are you, Alex?
Pretty good. How are you today?
I'm good. Good.
So-
Good to be here.
Thank you. Now, I remember when my dad first came home with the bottles of the sauce, and it was a little questionnaire to go with it, and I was asking, what do we think about the sauce? And that was kind of the first introduction that I had to your product. Now, when did you start up with it?
The product actually started, we've been doing it for about 18 years. As far as I made the sauce for 15 years, just for family and friends, church gatherings, things like that. And all throughout those years, everybody kept telling me, you need to get it bottled. You need to get it out there on the market. And I just kind of, whatever, didn't have any idea about what it would be like or what would be involved with it. I just did not ever take the time to research that. Well, finally, the last year that we made just the original flavor, we made 150 gallons in our kitchen that year for family and friends. And my wife said, you need to get another kitchen or you need to give the recipe away because this is outgrown what we're doing here. And that wasn't even on the retail market. So it just kind of worked things out to where we were able to come in to connection with a bottler who was able to help mentor us, and he's at Osage Beach, so it's just not too far from us, and we was able to connect with him, and everybody kept telling us you need to do multiple flavors, at least 3 flavors if you're going to go into the market, which is where your dad came home that day with the different flavors and different things, because at that time, just 3 years ago, we were researching what flavors would be able to be sold. So we did a lot of testing, put out some samples there. Some people who we knew loved barbecue sauce, and we trusted and valued their opinion. We give that to it. And based upon the results from your dad and your family and many others, we were able to develop those flavors. Started out with the 3 or 4, and now we're up to 7 different flavors.
So, why did you decide to start making a profit from it?
Well, it's kind of a funny story because my wife, as I said, she told me I have to find another kitchen or I need to give away the recipe. I had actually had the recipe on my computer at home one day, and I was ready to print it out and give it to all of our friends and family who wanted it, because up until that time I had never given it to anybody. Just kind of a fun little secret family recipe. As I was heading home from work that day, I was listening to Paul Harvey, the rest of the story, and I was headed home, going to print the recipe off that night and give it to everybody. And he told about a man who had a barbecue sauce that he just kind of dabbled in. And he was a professional man. I believe he said he was an attorney. And as he was dabbling in it, people loved it and people wanted to buy it. So he began to make it and take it to his local grocery store. They bought it, and then the whole county was buying it, and then it grew into the state. And it got to where that man actually had to quit being his law practice in order to be able to keep up with the barbecue sauce. And he said, and it grew into a business. And he said, you may have heard of it. It was KC Masterpiece. And it went, wow, that's our story. I mean, it just kind of has grown over the years, and people love it. And I thought, what if I had the next KC Masterpiece? What if I had the next big national brand, and I'm just going to give it away? Why don't I just sit on this a little while and get serious about maybe seeing what we could do? So that night, instead of going home and printing the recipe off and getting it to everybody, I went home and I began to research about what it would take to be able to make it an actual marketing product out there for stores and restaurants and stuff. So that's how, with one little radio program from Paul Harvey, changed the course of our recipe.
Okay. So, how about the name? How did you come up with that?
Preacher Boy's Secret Sauce. I get that question a lot because it's just kind of a unique, and people think we put a lot of thought into that and really researched it. We didn't. One day at work, before it was even actually a product out on the store shelves, when we were talking about it, somebody said, you need to name this stuff. At that time, it was just, I didn't name it. I just made it and gave it to people in bottles without labels. And they said, you need to name it. And I said, oh, well, there's no need of that. And they're like, you need to come up with a name. And they said, maybe it's who you are. And I said, well, what would describe you? I said, well, I'm a preacher. So I said, maybe just Preacher Boys. How's that? And they said, well, what's in the recipe? I said, it's a secret. So I said, maybe we need to call it Preacher Boys Secret Sauce. And kind of makes it sound secretive and kind of like, oh, what's the preacher's secret? What's he up to? It must be something more than just barbecue sauce in that. It's kind of a fun little play on words with it. And they said, that's a pretty good name for it. And so I thought, well, we'll just kind of stick with that. So when people after that asked me, I just always told them, it's a secret, Preacher Boys Secret Sauce. And that's how the name came up, and I just kind of stuck with it. And every marketing person that we've talked to with from the Missouri Department of Agriculture, who has worked very closely with helping us to get that launched, to our bottling company, to our label company, they all have said you couldn't have picked a better name. That is a name that sticks in people's minds. It's different than out there on the market. A lot of different names out on the market for barbecue sauces, and it just kind of describes who you are, a little bit about your story, and people have really caught on to it. So it's just kind of one of them things that evolved through time.
How do you advertise your sauce?
Without a real advertising budget, with us just getting started, honestly, the biggest advertising tool we've had has been Facebook. We have a Facebook page. We have a lot of people that follow it. And then we also, with working within our stores, they advertise for us by keeping us there. We have signs that we put up with our display racks. We also have a website that people can go to and be able to find it. But we really haven't been out there as far as buying newspaper time, radio time, stuff like that. We do a lot of community events that we give things, so it gives us an opportunity to be spotlighted with different organizations and stuff. We have also had, our local newspaper has done 3 or 4 stories about our product as we've been through the years in the growing process and kind of the progress that we've made with it. We've been featured in some magazine articles because it's a new product, it's a Missouri-based product, it's a small business. So we really grab onto any of those opportunities we get to get out there to the public that people are looking to help promote us and to do kind of what you're doing now, and a community interest story about it. So that's been the biggest way we've been promoting, because we are kind of a multi, as far as our clientele, we sell to the public, but we also sell to commercial things as well, such as restaurants and resorts and places like that buy our sauce by the bulk. So we just kind of try to promote it any way that we can.
So since you said it's just a small business, how many volunteers or employees do you have?
Well, currently there are no paid employees, including myself. Everything that I've done has just been hard work. My family has put into that a lot of hard work. We have some friends that have stepped up and really helped us out by helping distribute or helping keep inventory for us. Just basically, to give you a number, I couldn't tell you. The key people probably in our organization, besides me and my wife and our kids, my dad, he distributes for me around the Springfield area, Joplin, Ozark, Nixa, Branson, kind of that part of the state. And I cover the rest of the state like that. And then we have a distributor that also distributes to us in 5 states total that we're now have grown into. And then we've got one friend in particular that has been really great to house our inventory and to keep up with that. And then our bottler, he works real hard to help keep us going and promoting us within his circle of network. So that's no paid, just a lot of blood, sweat, love, and tears went into it.
Good. Since the 3 years that you've been selling your product, is there any obvious profit or how much has been shown?
We are making money with it. Of course, the standard rule of a new business, they tell me, is within the first 3 years, you probably won't show a profit. And to say we're making a profit, not a big profit. Everything that we make goes right back into the company because we're growing and we're getting new customers. As I mentioned, we're in 5 different states now, so we're having to use that money that we make to put back into inventory and product to turn over. So to look at to know that we're profitable, yes, we are 100% debt free. We have always been committed to that until we get to where we have to buy a building or we have to buy a vehicle or anything like that. While this is just starting and growing, we are trying our hardest to be good stewards of the money that we had and responsible financially. So we are 100% debt free, and the business is basically growing itself through the profits.
So is your company large enough to be involved with the community as in sponsor events to get your name out there?
It really is, and that's one thing we've really enjoyed doing. Not because it gets our name out to the community, that's always good, but we love our community. Our family is very involved in our community, not just me being a pastor, but also working in the radio industry for the last several years and working with the police and fire as a chaplain. I'm very involved in it, and I love to give back to the community, whether it's with the Lions Club or whether it's with a church group or whether it's even with a benefit auction. We have been able and blessed to be able to give donations to help raise funds for different organizations, and we love to do that. I know a lot of businesses cringe when they get it, and they probably get asked a lot more than what we do. But anytime we've had a chance to be able to give something back to the community to help, we love it. We consider it a blessing, and because we know that never returns void to us. Anytime we can give to the community, it always comes back to us. I mean, it's always, the Lord always takes care of that. The community notices that, and it's just kind of I believe you need to be involved with your community and to help it to grow. So we're very big in that, and have appreciated the opportunities we've had to be able to give back.
So, what was the greatest challenge that you had when you were trying to either sell your product, get it out on the market?
There's been a lot of challenges, a lot. And probably a couple of the biggest challenges is, number one, I don't have a clue what I'm doing. To be honest with you, I mean, this is an area that to say I would run a barbecue business, I have had to grow. I knew nothing about as far as with the nutritional stuff. I knew nothing about the marketing, the business setup. You're talking to a guy who's been a preacher, a factory worker, and a radio guy for his entire, probably last 25 years. I've really not been involved with building businesses like that, so I've had to learn a lot. Groups like SCORE have really helped me out. Also, just small business people in the community that I've talked to have given me some great advice. So that was a huge challenge, just learning how to be in business and to grow the business and do that. That's why I wish so bad that I could have went back and taken more business classes, kind of like what you're doing, to be able to get more knowledge about that. But probably the biggest thing is, since I'm not full-time in it, the biggest challenge has been the timing, finding the time to grow the business and balancing. Because when you're working full-time jobs and you're also working a business trying to get it to grow, you're on the phone on your breaks and lunch talking to customers. You're having meetings on your days off. You're taking your vacation days that you would normally be going, spending time with your family. You're taking those days or those weeks running around, getting new business and meeting with new customers. And that's a huge sacrifice. It's been a huge sacrifice on our family, but we've been able to do a lot of it together. So we've kind of grown it together. And it's been a challenge, but it's been one that we've really grown a lot and learned a lot from.
And for one final question, where do you see the Preacher Boy secret sauce going in the future?
Nationwide and worldwide. That's what our hope is. We have had a huge opportunity that was afforded to us. A major bottling company that has their own sauces out on the market contacted us about a year and a half ago, and they want to partner with us. And it's been huge if we could do that. We just are not at that volume. Like I said, we could jump in and they would take us on today and bottle for us, and they would help us go nationwide. But that would require us taking a huge financial leap. into an area that I'm not comfortable with. I know it takes money to make money, but I also know that barbecue sauce is a very, very competitive market. There are, for every one of me, there's 1,000 other guys out there that are trying to find a spot on that shelf in the grocery store. And I consider it a huge honor to be on every spot that I am. In some grocery stores, we have 7 slots for every flavor. And those don't come easy. I mean, you have to work to get those. And we're in a lot of stores. So I consider it an honor to get that. But there's always some guy coming trying to knock your sauce off the shelf so he can put his there through the business world. So what I see us as is continuing to build a brand, add more things to our brand, and we're really working hard at building that brand, a Preacher Boys brand. Maybe someday we'll have rubs and marinades and other things to go along with it in the future. Those are things we're looking at. We're looking at sugar-free brand, which a whole line of that, and that would be huge for us. We're also looking at adding additional flavors and options for people. So we see it growing. We've got a lot of ideas up here, and we've got a lot of knowledge and understanding now of the market and how to make it work to move forward. So I see us growing, not just with only barbecue sauce that we have now. I see us growing and expanding our brand to be very appealing to the grocery market, and even sometimes the specialty store market that would look and say, hey, that's something kind of different. And they offer the complete package. So I could put them in my store and only have to deal with one person. And maybe hooking up with some other distributors to be able to go into that area. So I see us growing. And it's exciting because just like right here in Lebanon, and just like your family has been a part of that, every person who's given us advice and input has helped build us to where we're at, and we're just appreciative of that so much, and as they are able to watch us to grow, and it's exciting.
Okay, so I lied about the final question.
That's fine.
What's the secret?
Well, it's interesting because if you'll look on the label, somebody asked me that the other day, and they said, I figured out the secret of your sauce. And I said, what is it? And they said, it's anchovies. And I'm like, anchovies? And then I forgot. We have actually, we use one of our ingredients, which is the Worcestershire sauce. I'll just give that. There's many ingredients, but that's one of them. Actually, the brand that we use has anchovy paste in it. Well, you have to list every ingredient on there. So now when people say, what's the secret? I say anchovies, and it just blows their mind. They're like, no way, that don't have anchovies in it. And it's such a minuscule part of that because it's just a small part, but it has to be listed on. I said, look on the bottle, it's in there. And it's just kind of a fun thing. I'd say the biggest secret is just a lot of love and hard work. And that's all you're going to get from me today. It's kind of like the bush beans guy. I just can't tell you. So.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. It's been very enjoyable, and I appreciate that.